welcome to Brevard News, your home for real news in Brevard County. My name is Kevin Jeffrey, your moderator. Be sure to like, share, and to subscribe to our podcast. Our co-host is Katie Delaney, the Republican nominee for County Commission, seat District 1. Sounds good, doesn't it, Katie? Also, the Gadfly of Brevard County. We'll tell you what that means. And also joining us is Stale Bailey, publisher of The Advocate's Voice, our other co-host. Stale, welcome.
Thanks.
What is this stuff about Gadfly? Article in Friday's paper that said that Katie Delaney is the Gadfly of what? How did they term that, Katie?
The conservative Gadfly Candidate. It's ridiculous that, this Florida Today writer has tried to minimize me and what I've done and all the support that I have and really my advocacy. And I just think it's despicable. It really is.
Shocked as to why the people could be galvanized behind you and you actually get elected.
Right. And so, you know what? He can call me a gadfly or whatever other name that he chooses, whatever week. But it's not going to stop me from advocating for the people of Brevard County. So if that's what I am, then that's what I am. But I'm not going to stop fighting.
I like it. T-shirts for Katie. Our quote for the week: freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. And you know who said that? Martin Luther King Jr. And no truer words have ever been spoken. We're going to talk about several things this week on the podcast, and we want to deal with the Titusville settlement for $70,000 to a young man who was paralyzed as a result of swimming in the lagoon. So you guys were at the meeting this week. Stell, what happened with that?
So Katie and myself were the only two in the audience to speak on this, and we just felt really pulled to because the mother showed up with the son, wheeling the son in a wheelchair into the room, and was sitting in the back of the room waiting to see if they would approve the settlement or not. And this family has been through something so unimaginable.
And how old is the kid?
He is a minor,
Okay.
under 18 when this all happened. And this happens back in early 2021 after a massive sewage spill got into the Indian River Lagoon. And he went paddleboarding unknowingly in the sewage. And what a lot of people don't realize is the sewage carries really harmful bacteria. So those swimming in the water shouldn't be in there with an open cut. When they get cut, it's really serious. People have lost limbs. And so this bacteria got into his system, his blood system. And so he went to Vieira Hospital. They tested his blood and they found the bacteria that would be in the sewage. And he got paralyzed from his waist down.
But for some reason, Katie, they weren't able to make the connection, and $70,000 doesn't seem like very much for a guy that's paralyzed, is it?
No. I mean, the fact that it's basically a slap in the face. I'm glad that the family got something, but this child lost, their legs for the rest of their life. And so, but one thing is that this child now he's a warrior. And he's going to do big things in his life. But the thing that I would really love to point out is the fact that Stell and other advocates during that time went to the Titusville City Council, begging them and pleading with them to inform the public about these sewage spills and to just let people know, don't go swimming when there are issues. And the Titusville City Council refused.
Why would they refuse? I mean, is it because of citizens coming to visit the area? Is it because of?
I think partially it's because it's a tourist area where tourists would come and swim. And also I think it's partially ego because they didn't want to admit that the sewage got into the lagoon.
Where this family can actually get more? I mean, I would imagine that his medical costs are way more than $70,000, right?
I would imagine since they agreed to a settlement, that's probably over.
But is it right that the city would even settle for $70,000 for a situation like that? Okay, on to something else with
Yeah.
the Tobio Files, and I hope that this family, I wish them well. This is just really a sad situation. Um, the Tobio Files, and that's what I want to call this because you ever heard of the X Files? This is scarier than that. It's the Tobio Files. And John Tobia has a scandal going on that we want to make sure you know about it. And it's the fact that he took out, and we talked about it last week, he used Truth Finder, government money, to solicit information on Truthfinder for at least 200 people that we know. Some of these people were general people. We don't know what the qualification was. I don't know how you qualified to get on this list, but he was keeping a list of 200 people that he gathered information from on Truthfinder. Some names we found were deleted. We don't really know how many people this was, right? So you have a county commissioner who is gathering information on citizens. And this is also the backdrop that he also would not listen to any citizens who didn't have a high voting record in Brevard County. So he just kind of dismissed them. Now you have the same guy who is gathering information. Is this an enemies list, Katie? Because that sounds like what it is.
Right. It's definitely concerning. I mean, the fact that a government official, an elected official, is gathering information on citizens, that that to me is it's unacceptable. I just can't even believe that an elected official would do something like that. What is he doing with this information?
That's
You
the big
know?
question still on Truth Finder. Educate us on what is Truth Finder.
I want to make it very abundantly clear for the viewers watching this, because I think that they would be very freaked out to learn. Truthfinder not only looks up where you live, your address, and all of your previous addresses, but it also tells them who your relatives are. And it can go all the way up to your great-grandparents and where they live. So if they're going to take this a step further and harass your family, they can find ways of doing that by finding their addresses through this Truthfinder. Also, it tells you all of the background. So if you have any background, whether it's divorces, whether it's you have bankruptcy, it usually, anything that is public record, it puts it into one place plus more. Not all of it is 100% accurate. I've checked my own and it says I've lived in places I've never lived. And so
But as far as I'm concerned, it can put them on the trail of somebody that they wanted to find.
yes, yes, and it's scary because we know that the powers that be use these types of things as intimidation tactics to silence people, especially those who are outspoken. And they do that by gathering intel and information on you and using that to their advantage. And it may not be behind the scenes. It could be right there at a county commission meeting as a gotcha moment.
Now, some of these things, some of these people that were on here were people that have appeared before the county commission. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so did he go after these people appeared before the county commission and said something that he didn't like and look these people up on Truthfinder to gather information? Is that what we're to assume?
Yeah, oh, no, not just assume. Kristen Lordy, it happened to her where he brought up in an under a discreet way as a "I've been looking at you" moment. Brought up, somewhere else that she had lived and
That's pretty creepy, isn't
yes,
it?
Oh, yeah.
very.
I mean, we would call people like that in any other situation perverts.
Or stalkers.
Stalkers or any number of names that you would label them, right? But this guy's a county commissioner and there's nothing about it. I mean, he seemingly is going to get away with this, right? So Tobia was absent from the county commission meeting. You were there, Katie, this past county commission meeting on Tuesday. No public information was offered about his absence. Why?
I'm not sure. I had heard that he was out of the state at the time, but that was just through the.
Is this normal procedure?
I mean, I have not the past year or so that I've been going to county commission meetings. I haven't ever seen him absent before. So it's ironic that it's the meeting right after the election where he did not win the seat that he was searching to or trying to win.
Thank God that you, the citizens, have a lot more wisdom than you're given credit for. Property appraiser Dana Binkley filed a 54-page report intent to file civil action to recover information concerning Tobia's Truth Finder account. They had a deposition. He won't give this information up.
No, isn't that a
This-
common thing in this county?
Why not? I mean, if you are innocent of what they're accusing you of, what's wrong, Katie, with
Right.
giving this information up?
Anything that you are doing revolving the city or the county or your business as an elected official is public documents. There is no not giving these things up. We
So-
have sunshine law. It's required.
Why is he not being forced to give it up? Now, so if Binkley actually goes through with this civil action, wouldn't he be forced to give it up?
You would think. I mean, there's things that people can do that can fight, certain things in the justice system. But I mean, really, this comes down to our current state's attorney, Phil Archer. He has always been soft on sunshine issues, and luckily, he's not going to be serving again after this year, and we will have somebody new. And I hope that he's going to do a much better job when it comes to this stuff.
Well, this is a serious issue because I know that President Nixon took on a lot of serious backlash when he had what was called an enemies list of people that he did not think was for him. I mean, how different is that from this? So the question comes is, what did Tobia's fellow commissioners know? What did they know about this? And so now we go back to the county commission meeting on March 12th and also on the July 9th. Now, I was at the March 12th county commissioner meeting, and Kristen Lorty, who was of Brevard Cares, the Brevard Cares Facebook group, brought this up, right? And they talked about this Truth Finder at the county commission meeting. So they knew that he had this account.
Right.
Did they not at that same meeting vote on the fact that they approved the money
His
for this?
spending. Yep. And he was, not only did they approve of the spending, but they, one of the commissioners actually thanked him for looking into people.
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? What
This
kind of
whole thing is
bizarre
bizarre.
world is this?
Right.
She thanked him?
Yes.
And so now we know that he's gathering information on citizens. For God knows what is he gathering this information for? He
Right.
has this information. Nobody's reporting on this. No one's outraged by this. The implications of this are frightening. Not only for this instance, but what are other government officials doing?
Right.
We know that there's been other people who have actually had, and we're going to talk about that, had accounts, fake accounts that were put out against them. And so this is a problem. Was the county attorney complicit in the cover-up?
Yes.
It looks
Oh,
like he
yeah.
is,
For
right?
sure. Yeah.
What is his name? Mark Richardson? Is that his name?
Morris
Richardson.
Richardson.
So he charged $48 for information regarding the alcohol consumption. So he's kind of stonewalling it. Apparently, he had given an edict that it was okay for Tobia to have alcohol in his office.
Right.
Right.
Since it was off of county property.
Okay, so now other people were allowed to go into his office and drink. Was he leveraging this information of those people who got drunk in his office?
Possibly.
Okay.
All
so
we can
that's-
do is speculate on that.
Yes.
But the thing that's that is horrible about this situation is that the county attorney is helping Tobia by putting up roadblocks to the documents that would give the citizens more understanding about what exactly was what was the correspondence between the lawyer and Commissioner Tobia.
So he's basically serving as Tobia's attorney,
Right.
his personal attorney.
Right.
So then he defended Tobia's Truth Finder subscription. Is this true?
Oh yeah.
Why? Did he know that he was using Truth Finder to gather information on people?
I mean, they openly talked about
Right.
gathering information on people.
So
Right.
all of the county commissioners knew he was using this to gather information. So here's the question. Did he have information on them?
Possibly. Yeah.
I mean, so this should not be swept under the rug. This is something that really needs to be looked into, because if we're not careful, it could lead to greater problems in Brevard County, and it really needs to not be swept under the rug. The next thing that we see is the establishment strikes back. So after some of the victories on August the 20th, there was a little whining on social media by some of the establishments. What's going on here? Let's start with you, Stell.
It's just it's interesting because it's like they're all, I don't even know the word for it. They're just losing their minds on social media. It's like they came out of the woodworks.
I think the word you want to say is triggered.
It's not just them behind their own accounts. We've seen a bunch of fake accounts popping up. And so we've been able to discover who's behind these fake accounts, and we're still working on a couple other ones. And so we've been able to actually confront the people that are associated with the city of Titusville that are behind these fake accounts.
How do we stop this? You have city officials, again, you have government officials who are misusing government things in order to attack citizens. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Right.
So what's going on and how do we stop this? Tell me, give me some insight, Katie, as to how we can stop this madness.
Unfortunately, there's not really a whole lot we could do to stop it because the way that social media works is there's, freedom of speech. So, Facebook and all these other social media sites would have to go through like identity verification or something to stop fake accounts, which most likely they're probably not going to do.
I mean, can't you trace that back to the
You would
entity where
think
it
if they're
originated from?
If they're using government computers or, I know, for instance, in the school system, whatever is going on those computers at the schools, everybody can see what's happening on the screens. So, it could be something as simple as that.
There's a point where it crosses freedom of speech when they're doxing your address and attacking my minor children and posting my minor children, and it crosses into cyber stalking and harassment. And what can be done about it, which isn't being done about it, is the sheriff's department has an investigation unit that can actually subpoena Meta, which is Facebook, and get the IP addresses and handle this and address it and start holding people accountable so that the citizens of this county can start building trust with the government back and know that these people that have positions of power will be held accountable for taking these actions to intimidate people.
So you see this weaponization even on the local level where your government officials are using the infrastructure against the people, right? And it's really a shame. County Commissioner Steele is involved in a questionable expenditure. Now, he spent $2,700. He and his girlfriend went to a conference in Washington, D.C. He said that he drove in order to save the county money. Some people say no. What say you, Katie?
Well, I mean, $2,742, that is quite a bit more than what one plane ticket would have cost to DC and back. So
was it okay for his girlfriend, or does the county pay for his girlfriend? I mean, I don't know. Is that...
I mean, it seems that way because it looks like they got to have a little road trip on their way to DC, and it's really unfortunate. It's wrong that the county's residents, their tax dollars are being wasted on something like that. Especially when that money could have been much better spent elsewhere.
It's the people's money that is being spent here, and in this situation, maybe carelessly.
Oh yes, like a plane ticket, you can get easily for $300 to get up there, and then your hotel for a night or two would have not cost $2,742. And I can relate to that because I've gone to Washington, D.C. on numerous occasions. And so I have an idea of the cost. And if you're not going to rooftop bars and mingling with special interests, it ends up being less. So
try Spirit Airlines.
You can use your personal money if you're going to be doing that stuff.
Correct. And that's the way it is. And so a lot going on in Brevard County. What's coming up in Titusville? Quiet here the next couple of weeks with Titusville and the County Commission?
So we have I believe it's the 5th of, Thursday the 5th, we have the Planning and Zoning meeting, which that is going to have the Hog Valley issue coming up for a vote and the Sherwood issue coming up for a vote.
Two big hot button issues.
Right. So hopefully the county follows the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Board with the Hog Valley issue. And my hope is that with the Sherwood issue is that they postpone that vote until after the election. Piece is that all of the testing hasn't been done for this development. So why are we considering a zoning change when all of the data isn't even available?
Okay, anything else on the docket?
On the same night, September 5th, there is a community meeting to talk about a development on South Street in Titusville, and I'll go ahead and post that on social media.
Thanks, Stell, and also Katie. My 2 cents. Your election of Katie Delaney as the Republican nominee signaled a change in the direction of Brevard politics. Far too long, a select few of people have ingratiated themselves through local government at the expense of the people. You signaled that you are tired of it and you want a new direction. To complete this journey, we must rid North Brevard of all of these type of candidates in both parties. The city of Titusville has an election coming up, and that will be equally crucial to North Brevard. You can know if they're not for you, just follow the money and also their indifference, because they're just not into you. They are following the money and the people who pay them. And that's my 2 cents. Thank you for joining us this week on Brevard News. You have a wonderful week, and be sure to like, share, and not prescribe, subscribe to our podcast. Have a wonderful week.